Okay, so then we come here to Thursday, March 4th. Mars will enter Gemini about 4:30 a.m. in Central Europe. Something we've been waiting for quite a while. It's a big change. We're getting a shift now, this dynamic Mars. Remember what Mars is. It's passion, it's force, it's breaking away from things. It's the great change agent of the sky. You know, what would life be without Mars? It would be staid, it would be unsatisfying, and it would be pretty dull, I think. Mars breaks things open and keeps us moving forward. So I'm very happy to see this shift of energy. Mars in Taurus was also a tough place for Mars to be because it was subdued and oversaturated with Venus and couldn't function quite as well as it is used to functioning. Now we get Mars kind of breaking open. Remember, Mars was retrograde for about 7 months in Aries, and that was a block and a difficult place for Mars. Then it had to deal with this Taurian exile, but now finally Mars is breaking free. It's running a little bit. It's able to let loose in Gemini. And we're combining here this capacity for force and for activity with language, with intellect, with the thinking capacity that Mercury brings and that Gemini is so much about. To go from that maybe lackadaisical and even, slow to move Mars, and now we're shifting in with a really sharp mind. The mind is a weapon, is the metaphor that I think of here. The pen being mightier than the sword, ultimately. I mean, 1 or 2 words can just sear someone, can rip someone to pieces. A well-chosen comeback or a well-chosen attack can really decimate. So it's the power of language to sear, to cut, to defeat, really, people that we might be engaged in battle with. And the battles of life. I mean, Mars does signify warfare, but we're also here talking about just the struggles and battles of life. Every day we're engaged with other people to, run this race of life. So, but that's the reality. There's a job, you're competing with people for work, you're competing with people for clients. It's just a part of life, and it keeps us healthy, it keeps us going, it keeps us getting up in the morning, staying well groomed and going out into the world. And and the other thing here is that we're so technologically integrated in our world that this also could be, remember I was speaking about words and language being so potent, that we might need to be careful here a little bit with what the words we're saying and being aware of how powerful they are and how much we can wound or harm with the language. You might want to pause before sending that text. You might want to just check in with yourself and make sure that the words will have an impact, but make sure that that impact is the impact you intend them to have, because this is a placement with Mars and Gemini where you run the risk of lashing out, saying things that maybe you can't take back fully, or saying things you may regret. Remember, Gemini is a day sect sign. It's a warm sign. It's hot. It's of the day. And Mars is the fiery martial planet that when you combine the heat of the daytime with the heat of Mars, it can become unruly, which is why Mars does better and is of the night sect, but does better in those earth and water signs because it cools the potential for Mars to really burn and harm. We lose some of that here in Gemini, and that is what we need to be careful with. And that's the other big thing about the transit is the North Node is here. Rahu, the head of the snake, is going to be co-present with Mars the whole time here in Gemini. It's very much one of the significations of Rahu is that you get too much of something. You get over-expansive, too excited, choose to reach for too much. It can destabilize. And so that's why I think there's risks of maybe getting too aggressive with the language. Not only is it Mercury and a signification of Mercury, but then Rahu comes and it really can give this energy of shooting too far, too much words, too aggressive, too a burst of energy that might overwhelm people we're trying to win over. But the other part of it, the good news is that the whole of Mars's transit through Gemini will have Jupiter and Venus overcoming Mars from earlier in the zodiac. Jupiter will be in Aquarius overcoming Mars via a very powerful and auspicious trine. And then Venus overcomes from a square in Pisces, exalted there, and a sextile from Aries once Venus hits Aries in late March. You can think here about how the benefics can bring down and mitigate the risk of the Mars getting too overactive here. Too much combustion here with the Mars, too much fire. Jupiter in Aquarius, that is the kind of truth and wisdom that comes from a place of stability and longevity. You add that to our communication and the communication that Mars wants to do. It can help prevent lashing out and high risk invective. Then you have the Venus in Pisces, which is very much a transit of love and celebration of beauty. That can also help because we're staying in the body and in the physicality with the energy, acknowledging beauty, very much a visual and a sensual component that takes us out of the mind. And so that's helping tone down this Mars. So I think you can think about those two things: what's beautiful, what makes people feel good, and what is true from a place of tradition or longevity. You know, some truth is truth. I mean, you can't really tear truth away, some of these grand truths about life. Those two planets can ground this Mars and Gemini. And in particular, when Venus gets into Aries, we're dealing with even more of a fiery energy, and when the Sun gets into Aries, we'll talk more about that when that comes in March. This might be a really good time to use the energy as it's returning, as we're getting into spring, to the ideas that you want to spread. You know, this is one just simple delineation here with Mars and Gemini: energy and power with the thought and with the idea. So, you know, what ideas do you live by? You know, what are the sayings you live by? For me, is like, love is the engine of survival. I talk about that a lot, the Leonard Cohen quote. I'm very much a heart-centered person. But it's an idea. You can take that energy and put it in language and try to spread that. I mean, these videos are all language. But where are you and how can you spread ideas? And this might be a wonderful time to do it with Mars and Gemini. I'm glad to be here this week. Have a wonderful week ahead. And as always, you can book astrology readings and tarot readings with me, sjanderson144.com. Click here to schedule a reading right at the top. I love to read, and I look forward to reading for you. Have an awesome week. And this air trine that's coming with the Libra moon, Mars and Gemini, and the Jupiter-Mercury conjunction in Aquarius is such a lovely way to balance out this late winter and kick us in to what should be a very lovely summer.